ain't nothing. Yeah, if it ain't love, it ain't nothing.
Peace and power to the true and living. Good morning, family. This is CBornNacirfaSun, and I am you. Yo, I'm excited to be coming back at you with another powerful video. This is Reflections of a Higher Consciousness. And I want to start this one by posing this question. And I want you to answer this question. What do you want? What do you desire? If you ask people this question, you will get a lot of different answers. Some people will say, I want to start my own business. I want to buy a new car. I want to travel. I want to make more money. I want to move up in my company. I want to buy a bigger house. I mean, you're going to get various answers. A lot of different answers. But the one answer that I don't think you're going to get a lot of, or maybe even none of, is this. I want to truly be what my Creator made me to be. My desire is to be truly and fully what God made me to be. I want to stand in His light and do His will. That's an answer that I don't believe you're going to get a lot when you go around posing this question to people. What do you want? Right? And it's very important that we think about this. And the reason why I start off with this question is because this is what I see in life, in society, with the people that I know, even with me in my personal life. And a lot of times I have to pause, stop myself, and repose this question to myself. Because at the end of the day, that should always be the answer to this question of what do you want, what do you desire? Is to be what God made you to be, and to live according to the will of the Creator. But the problem is, in our society, right, God is like something that we put in our pocket and we pull out whenever something goes wrong or whenever we need help. Right? God is never primary. He's always secondary. Right? And He's not, we don't look at God in the sense that we have to serve God. We look at God in the sense that God has to serve us. You see what I'm saying? We want so many things from the Creator. We pray, we cry, we beg, and we plead for God to do this, that, and the third for us. For God to grant us our desires. For God to grant us our wishes. Right? But the problem with that is that none of us are desiring God. Right? We want God to fulfill all these things for us. But we don't desire the Creator. And the only time we desire our Creator is when we want Him to do something for us. Right? This is the relationship in which we have formed with our Creator. We have turned God into our slave. God, I need this. Can you do this for me? Right? Now, one of the most common of these desires that I encounter, right, both from men and women, but especially more so with women, is the desire for relationships, the desire for a man, right? And the biggest problem with humanity is that we want things from God, but we have failed to live according to the simple laws which He put in creation. But we still want God to do for us, right? So I encounter a lot of people who are searching for relationships. I mean, we see this everywhere in our society. It's in the movies, it's in the TV shows. Sometimes they have whole TV shows. A lot of different TV shows have been created that are specifically for this purpose of getting people hooked up in relationships, right? A lot of shows have been created for that purpose. So whenever I'm dealing with somebody, whenever I'm counseling a person, be it male or female, the first question that I always ask them is, if it's a man, I will ask them, what is a man? If it's a woman, I will ask her, what is a woman? Right? And this is something that I've been doing before. Matt Walsh even came out with his documentary, which, by the way, is a super awesome documentary, and I highly recommend you to check that documentary out if you have not done so. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a video where I'm actually going to dive a little deeper into that question of what is a woman, right? But these are the questions that I ask always when I'm counseling someone, right? Especially when it's a person who's talking about, wanting things in life. First question is, what is a man? Or if it's a woman, what is a woman? And the reason why I ask this is because in life, in order to get ourselves out of this confusion, out of this chaos, out of this darkness, right, we have to take many steps back and see where we went wrong, what we missed, right? That's why I asked this question. Because in wanting something in life, right, you first have to understand what you are and what your purpose is. What is a man? What is a woman? And what is the purpose? What is the responsibility that the Creator has assigned to a man and to a woman? What is God's will for a man? And what is God's will for a woman? See, we never ask ourselves these questions, right? We want to gain everything in the world, but we never ask ourselves the most important and most fundamental questions. Because you have to understand that your life, if you're trying to live a successful life, that cannot be done being disconnected from God. That cannot be done being ignorant of God. That cannot be done without fulfilling the will of God in creation. See what I'm saying? Every creature, everything was created with a purpose. And whenever a creature is living in its purpose, is fulfilling its purpose, that's when it finds the most success, the most joy and happiness, the most peace and freedom, the most prosperity. Whenever you become that which the Creator made you to be, and you stand in the place and fulfill the purpose for which the Creator gave you. See, that's really the problem here. And that's really the reason why there is so much lack and emptiness in our lives, because we are grossly, dangerously disconnected from our Creator. We have no idea what His will is, what He requires, what He demands of us in this creation with all the power that He has given us. Right? And this is especially true of our womanhood when it comes to the desire for relationships. Right? So this is the reason why I started with that question. What is a man? What is a woman? You must know what you are. You must know who you are. Right? Because what you are, who you are, has a purpose. Right? Have a purpose that must be fulfilled within this creation. God demands of you. God demands of all His creatures, especially those of us who are spiritual and free-willed, because we have greater powers, and with great power comes great responsibility. So how is it that you want and hope to be successful, to be happy, to experience peace and freedom, when you're grossly out of sync with what the Creator made you to be? Right? Grossly out of sync with what the Creator made you to be. Human beings, we are like some fishes trying to live our lives outside of water. That's what human beings are. We are fishes trying to live our lives on land. If we're not fulfilling the will of the Creator, none of this, none of anything that we have means anything. It will not bring us any benefit. So think about that. All the things that you wish for, that you want. Why do you want those things? And in gaining those things, will it help you to fulfill your purpose, your God-given purpose? Do you even know what your purpose is? Where do you stand in creation? Right? I pose these kind of questions to a lot of people, and what I find is that they're not able to answer these questions. And that's what the problem is. We keep wanting things from God, but we keep failing to be what He created us to be. And not realizing that once we become what our Creator made us to be, everything that we are lacking, we will get, plus more, plus way more, right? But what we're trying to do is we're looking in the mirror and we're trying to change the image that is in the mirror. And it's not going to work. You must change this image, the image that is outside of the mirror. You must change that. And once that changes, the image in the mirror will automatically adjust to that, reflect that. And that's the same way it works here. in the things that human beings want and desire in this creation. Once you are adjusted to the will of God in creation and you're fulfilling the purpose for which He created you for, everything takes care of itself. And that's the thing that we have failed to do miserably. But yet we continue to run to God asking for all these frivolous and meaningless things. Right? See, when we look at the commandments, what was the first commandment given to us? The very first commandment says, "Thou shalt have no gods but me." The very first commandments tell us that we must not put anything before God. Not even family, not even your children, not even your wife, not even your husband. Because absolutely every single thing that you have, that you're able to enjoy, that you're able to succeed in, is only possible through the power of God. Therefore, how can we turn our backs on the Creator? How can we neglect His will, His laws, and then hope to be successful and prosperous? Let's dive a little deeper into that first commandment and really understand, right, the science behind putting God first. Why was that the first commandment? And what does it really mean? Right? Well, it's plain as day. Don't put anything before God. Your first goal as a human being, your first task as a human being is God, the will of God, your Creator. That comes first over everything. And let's explain the importance of that, right? You see, God, the Creator, is the source of life. God, the Creator, is life itself, right? So the source of our lives, that which granted us this life, that which nourishes and maintains this life, is God, the Creator. So in order for this life to continually be maintained and nourished, you must maintain that creation with God, because that's where the power comes from, right? That's where the power comes from, which gives you life, which maintains and nourishes this life. So in order to keep this life in existence, and in order to make this life, in order for maximum progress, maximum prosperity, maximum success, right? We must be connected with the Creator, because that's the source of this life that we're living. Whenever you become disconnected from the Creator, you become disconnected from life. So then how can you live when you're disconnected from life? How can you gain all those things that you wish for when you're disconnected from life, when you're disconnected from the source of it all? Right? Again, everything from your career to the money to your family to your property and all of that is only made possible through the power of God. So this is why, and I'm not going into this as deep as it gets, because I'm saving that for another video. I'm just touching the surface right now, right? But that's some of the purpose behind this commandment. To remain in existence, we must remain connected to life, which is God. That's why it tells us to put nothing above God, that God comes first, because God is life. Without life, how can you have those wishes and desires? How can you fulfill them without life? So many of us, we fail. We don't experience the peace and prosperity and happiness that we should experience because we're disconnected from the Creator and therefore disconnected from the prosperity of life. Right? And due to the fact that we're disconnected from the Creator, we're disconnected from life, is what makes these Luciferians so damn successful today in everything that they're trying to implement. It's our disconnection from the Creator that makes them so successful. Right? So keep that in mind. For whatever it is that you're desiring, that you want to have, that you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is, if you are not putting God first, if you are not standing in the light of God, if you're not adjusting yourself to the will of God in creation, if you are not making every effort to learn the laws of the Creator and live according to those laws so that you can be able to fulfill your God-given purpose, then everything that you're trying to accomplish, that you're asking God for, is meaningless, is useless. It's not going to get you anywhere. Right? So that first commandment was given to us as a protection. Right? It was given to us as a protection because in putting God first and putting God above all things, that's a protection. That protects us from evil and darkness. Right? It doesn't just grant us everything that we want, but it protects us at the same time. Right? So again, what do you want in this life? What is a man? What is a woman? Are you truly standing in your place as a man and upholding that which God demands of you? Are you truly standing in your place as a woman and upholding that sacred task that God has assigned to you? Are you fulfilling the task, the God-given task of womanhood? Are you fulfilling the God-given task of manhood? Are you doing that? Or are you ignoring all of that, running in circles, hitting your head against the wall, and begging God to save you and rescue you? And begging God to give you this, that, and the third, when really He has already given you everything. Right? It's really that simple. Right? We want so many things in this life. So many things in this life. But how badly do you want your Creator? Do you want God? Do you want to stay in the light of God and live according to His will as bad as you want all these other things in your life? Do you? Because the thing is, if you're not fulfilling that, if you're not desiring God, then there's no foundation. You have a very faulty foundation, and everything that you gain eventually is gonna come tumbling down. Is going to collapse because it doesn't have the proper foundation. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and close this video because I don't want to make it too long. And a lot of comments that I get from people is, you're mean, or you're too serious. Like, lighten up. But if you knew what I knew, then you will understand. If you have this knowledge of creation, which is given to us in the Grail message, then you will understand why I'm so serious. You know, and a lot of things people call mean, most of the time when people say you're mean, it's simply because you're telling them the truth. And they don't want to hear the truth. That's usually what it means when people say you're mean. It's because you're telling them the truth and they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to accept the truth. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here. I just thought that was the perfect morning reflection. The science behind putting God first. God is the source of all things. If you put him first, live according to his will, then you yourself will have all that you desire plus more. But if you ignore God and put everything else before God, put your wishes and desires and everything else before God, and are not even aware of your purpose, then you will never truly be successful. Right? It's really that simple. So, with that being said, let us pray. We stand in the light in thy creation and know of thee, O creator of the universe. We know of thy infinite wisdom and goodness, of thy everlasting might and inexhaustible power. Worshipping, we raise our hands and beseech thee, Lord, let thy great goodness and mercy be upon us. Amen. Peace and power to the true and living. This is CBornNacirfaSun, and I am you.
If it ain't love, it ain't nothing. Yeah. If it ain't love, it ain't nothing.